What if the monster isn't the creation itself, but what happens after the creator walks away? Today we're diving into the modern-day Frankenstein story, artificial intelligence. Welcome to Future Forward, Artificial Intelligence, Artificial General Intelligence, Artificial Superintelligence, the podcast exploring the moral crossroads of technology. I'm your host, and I'm thrilled to be joined by a leading researcher in artificial intelligence ethics to unpack the cautionary tale of Frankenstein and its surprising relevance to our artificial intelligence-driven world. Thanks for having me. It's a vital conversation. So let's jump right in. Most people think of Frankenstein as a scary monster story, but it seems you see it as something far more profound. The monster, the stitched-together creature, is a symbol, not the core of the story. It's really about Victor Frankenstein, the creator, and his ambition, his intelligence, and ultimately his irresponsibility. Irresponsibility? In what sense, you might ask? He creates something powerful, something new, and then abandons it. He refuses to take responsibility for his creation's well-being or its impact on the world. That's the tragedy. Do you see parallels with artificial intelligence today? We're building systems that learn, adapt, and act with increasing autonomy. These artificial intelligence systems are already reshaping industries, impacting our daily lives in ways we barely understand. We, as creators, need to consider our responsibilities. It's interesting to frame it. We, as creators. Because in the traditional sense, artificial intelligence is often framed as this inevitable force, something happening to us, not by us. That's a dangerous misconception. Artificial intelligence isn't some magical force. It's built by people, trained on data chosen by people, and deployed in systems designed by people. The choices we make determine its trajectory. The algorithms reflect our priorities, whether we acknowledge them or not. So, what's the artificial intelligence equivalent of Frankenstein's monster, you may be asking? Is it a specific algorithm gone rogue, or is it something more systemic? Well, it's definitely systemic. The monster isn't a single rogue artificial intelligence. It's the potential for widespread harm when these systems are deployed without proper consideration for their ethical implications, their potential biases, and their long-term consequences. Think about algorithmic bias in hiring, or facial recognition technology used for surveillance. It's the unintended, or sometimes intended consequences that can be monstrous. There is something important there: bias. It feels like we're constantly uncovering new ways artificial intelligence can perpetuate and even amplify existing societal biases. And that gets to the heart of why the Frankenstein analogy is so relevant. The creature wasn't inherently evil. It became destructive through neglect and rejection. Artificial intelligence systems don't need malice to cause harm. They only need poor alignment, bad incentives, and negligent oversight. That makes perfect sense. Let's talk about an example of poor alignment in the context of artificial intelligence. Imagine an artificial intelligence system designed to optimize a company's profits. If the system is solely focused on that metric, it might make decisions that are harmful to employees, customers, or the environment, all in the name of maximizing profit. The alignment is poor because the system's goal, profit optimization, isn't aligned with broader ethical considerations. Earlier I mentioned scale and speed as critical elements. How do those factors amplify the risks? Artificial intelligence systems operate globally and instantaneously. A flawed algorithm can make millions of decisions in seconds, with far-reaching consequences. Human governance, on the other hand, evolves slowly. Responsibility becomes diffuse, and accountability weakens. It's a recipe for disaster if we're not careful. So what's the solution? How do we avoid becoming modern-day Victor Frankensteins? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It starts with recognizing that artificial intelligence ethics isn't just an abstract concept. It's a crucial part of the development process. We need to bake ethical considerations into the design, training, and deployment of these systems. And who is we in this context? Is it the responsibility of the developers, the companies, the governments? Well, it's everyone's responsibility. Developers need to be trained in ethical artificial intelligence principles. Companies need to prioritize ethical considerations over pure profit. Governments need to create regulations that promote responsible artificial intelligence development, and the public needs to be informed and engaged in the conversation. It sounds like a massive undertaking, but the stakes are too high to ignore. As the one paper argues, artificial general intelligence marks a profound ethical threshold. At that point, intelligence is no longer merely a tool. The question shifts from control to relationship. That line, the question shifts from control to relationship, is really striking. What does that mean in practice? It means that we can't simply treat artificial intelligence as a tool to be controlled and manipulated. We need to develop a deeper understanding of how these systems interact with the world, how they impact human values, and how we can ensure they are aligned with our goals. So it sounds like it's less about command and obey and more about creating a beneficial partnership, and that requires a fundamental shift in mindset. Victor Frankenstein never answers this question of relationship with his creation, and that silence becomes catastrophic. It's interesting how the story keeps coming back to this idea of abandonment. It's not the creation itself that's monstrous, but the abandonment of it, and that's the core of the warning for us today. The real threat doesn't come from intelligence alone, it comes from scale, speed, and detachment. Artificial intelligence systems operate globally and instantaneously, while human governance evolves slowly. Responsibility becomes diffuse, and accountability weakens. Let's zoom out for a second. One common assumption I hear is that artificial intelligence will inevitably solve all our problems, that it's a purely beneficial force. Well, that's a dangerous assumption. Artificial intelligence is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's not a magic bullet that will solve all our problems. In fact, it can exacerbate existing problems if we're not careful. The technology itself is neither good nor bad. Its impact depends entirely on how we develop and deploy it. So you might be thinking, what are some of the specific challenges we need to address to ensure artificial intelligence benefits humanity as a whole? We need to address algorithmic bias, ensure data privacy, promote transparency and accountability, and develop robust safety mechanisms. And crucially, we need to foster a broad public conversation about the ethical implications of artificial intelligence. These technologies will reshape our world. The choices we make now will determine what that world looks like. Let's bring it back to the original question then. How can we avoid the mistakes of Victor Frankenstein when it comes to artificial intelligence? What's the key takeaway? The most important insight is that the monster isn't the creation. The monster is what happens when creators walk away. Modern artificial intelligence demands long-term responsibility, monitoring, and accountability. We can't just create these systems and unleash them on the world. We need to be prepared to steward them, to guide them, and to ensure they are used for the benefit of humanity. So it's about embracing our role as responsible creators, not just brilliant inventors. One paper concluded, artificial intelligence will reflect our values and failures. The future depends on whether we choose abandonment or stewardship. Now that's a powerful message. It underscores the importance of this conversation, not just for technologists, but for everyone. Because artificial intelligence will impact all of us. We are at an inflection point. The choices we make today will shape the future of artificial intelligence and the future of humanity. So as we wrap up, I'm left wondering, how do we ensure that the pursuit of innovation doesn't overshadow our ethical obligations in the age of artificial intelligence?